That's record time.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. I want to welcome you to the Joint Shared Services Committee agenda meeting for today, Thursday, November the 21st, 2024. I'll call the meeting to order. The first order of business is the adoption of the agenda for today, that the November 21st, 2024 meeting be adopted. Moved by Councillor Gibson, seconded by Councillor Davies. All those in favor? Thank you. The next item on the agenda is that we adopt the meetings of September 26, 2024. May I have a mover if there's any questions? Moved by Councillor Davies, seconded by me, Danny. I can do that, right? All those in favor? Thank you. We'll move on to the next item. We have presentations, no delegations. We have reports, and we have a standard report, the bi-monthly water report, and do we see Jamie Austin? He's not in it. Okay, thank you. You're going to give me the water report. Thank you. Go ahead, Stella.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon, committee members. I'm standing in for Jamie today. So first report up is the bi-monthly water report, which covers the month of September and October. So in this report, it outlines that all drinking water quality results during this period met regulatory requirements for September and October. We want to move to Appendix A of the report. It shows the daily demands, and the peak demand happened on September 5th during this period, and it showed 92.7 megaliters. And if we want to move to Appendix C, it shows the average monthly demand. So the average daily demand for September was up by 2.1% from 2023. And the average daily demand for October was up by 6.3% from 2023. Just wanted to note that the comparison is a partial October data. We look at the full data for October, the demand was up by 3.6% compared to 2023. If we want to go to Appendix E and F, it shows the lake levels. In this report, it shows that Dixon was at 71%. We checked this morning, it was up to 100%. And Canal was at 88%, and similarly, we are now experiencing 102%, which is above the spillway level. And this concludes the report.
Thank you very much for the report. Are there any questions? No questions? Okay, we'll now move on to the bi-monthly team plant report on page 13. Go ahead, Stella, you say.
Mr. Chair. Yeah. Mr. Wazowski.
Oh, yeah, go ahead. I apologize. Okay, going back to the water report.
I'm just wondering if there's some folks here I don't know. I would appreciate it as one board member if we could just introduce people who are here. I'd sure appreciate it.
Okay, well, sorry, I
For
apologize.
the record, no, just thank you.
Okay, before we get to the sewer report, the water sewer report, we will ask everybody to introduce themselves. You're correct. I don't know all of you either. So go ahead.
Yeah.
Sure, that one. Go ahead, sir.
Mark Viloria, I'm the manager for water distribution. I'm filling in actually for Jamie.
Okay.
Instead of taking over the report.
Okay, and
I'm Julie Canyon, Solid Waste and Environmental Coordinator for Abbotsford.
Go ahead.
Doug Stewart, Director of Finance. I'm Laith Barat, Senior Water Engineer.
I'm Alex Master, Water Planning Engineer for Regional Utilities.
okay. And Michelle.
I'm Brady Paviots. I'm the GM of Operations.
Randy Bullard, Director of Finance for Abbotsford. Jimmy Chan, Acting Manager for City of Abbotsford.
Okay.
Director of Legislative Services.
And thank you, Anna. I forgot Tracy Kyle, our Director.
Engineering and Public Works Commission.
Thank you.
Thank you. We need these people.
I know, I apologize. I didn't realize they popped in here and my head was blocked off, but anyhow, thank you. For
Good.
Yeah, I know. Thank you, Mr. Gibson, Councilor Gibson. Okay, we'll now get back to the the sewer report on page 13. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair, again. And so this report covers the bi-monthly James plant for the month of September and October. And the plant met all regulatory parameters for the reporting period. And not as of the day of the report, 6,540 tons of wet tons of biosolids have left the site. And we want to move to Appendix E. It shows that the ammonia concentration is now well below the toxicity curve. And the rest circle, next page, please. Yeah, the rest circle there highlights the October sample result, which is below the toxicity curve, which is what we want to see. And this concludes the report.
Thank you. If any questions to this report, go ahead, Councilor Gibson.
Under orthophosphate,
I can even pronounce that. It says, we were given a substitution. What does that mean?
Yeah, through the chair to Councillor Gibson. So if we were just to look at the data and the regulatory requirement, the number shows that we're above the limit. But we are part of one of the plants that discharges to the Fraser River, and all the other plants along the Fraser River have the limits above, have the discharge above the limit. So a number of years ago, we reached out to the province to seek an amendment to the regulation to see if we can get a change in an exception in the regulation. And so the province came back and asked us to do a monitoring program to prove that. So we have been in that program for 3 years now. We reached out to the province and outlined to them that the results hasn't shown any adverse impact from the plant to the Fraser River and the downstream environment. And just still waiting to hear back from them. But at the same time, we're moving forward with another outfall monitoring program for 3 years to collect the data. But when we applied for the amendment, we got a piece of paper showing that we got this substitution, meaning that we have to go through the process of collecting the data and proving to them that there's really no impact from the plant to adverse impact from the plant to the environment. So that's what that is about.
So, Mr. Chairman, is that temporary or permanent?
Through the chair to Councillor Gibson, once we finish this outfall monitoring program, we're hoping to present the data back to the province and get the amendment, permanent amendment to the regulation.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Mayor Steven.
Yeah, my understanding at the time was that most their regulations were based on if it was going into a lake, which is more not as fast moving. Is that part of the problem, is that their regulations are more for that type of environment, or did I misunderstand that?
Yes, so through the chair to Mayor Siemens, there are different criteria outlined in the municipal wastewater regulations. I believe the limits for the lake would actually be higher for phosphorus. So not quite sure. Possibly, this number that is in the regulation right now came from some standard, but the Fraser River environment is quite different in terms of the flow out to the ocean, the turbidity, the dilution factor, and all of that, and also, the treatment plant isn't really the only source to contribute phosphorus to the downstream environment. There is also other players at play, meaning there is agriculture, farming, and all that. But in terms of meeting the regulations, so the province really wanted us to collect the data and show to them that we're not doing anything harmful to the environment. And we've hired qualified professionals to help us with demonstrating that to them.
Thank you.
Thank you, and I appreciate that. I've been good for asking the questions. I remember that this question had been asked before, but it's good to get the updated clarity around it. Thank you very much. Okay, we'll move on. No other questions. We'll move now on to 6.3, tenancy application over Norris Creek Water Supply, page 24. Do we have someone speaking to that?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So the Norris Creek water supply infrastructure that we use is located on Crown land.
Yes.
And 10-year applications for continued use of that land require endorsement. The recommendations are before you, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Okay, I know I should ask, put it on the floor, mover and then we'll ask questions, correct? Mover and then seconder, and moved by Councillor Lee, seconded by Mayor Siemens. Any questions in regards to this item? I know it's a requirement. I did have a question. I'm concerned about the timeline it took to get, that it's taken to get from the point in time that we made the application to today. It's February 20, 2023, and we're still trying to finish the process.
Right. Okay. Thank you, Chair Plikus. The, so when the original application was made in 1983, it used a different type of arrangement. A Crown land tenure was originally issued as a special use permit. It was not intended to be indefinite. And so in 2018, when we applied, we were informed that the previous arrangements were inappropriate and that in the future, the current application involving Crown lease application for the waterworks and a statutory right of way for the linear infrastructure that are both essentially indefinite. They're officially 30 years or more, were the more appropriate. And so there was work required in order to prepare those applications. That's what led us to.
Okay, thank you. And I saw the cost. Appreciate that because I was unclear, and I know this one we went and did the tour. The question is, why can't we get the surrounding as well? But I understand this is a good step forward. It needs to be done. So thank you. Okay, we have a mover and seconder. And go ahead, Councillor Gibson.
Thank you, Chair. So on the assumption this will be approved, it looks like something that's going to be fairly perfunctory as far as government is concerned. What will our status be with this property? What is our relationship with this property if it's approved?
Through the chair, I agree with the assessment. It will. We don't anticipate any issues with this application. The land is Crown land. It is provinces and will be for our exclusive use for the foreseeable future for the waters, the water treatment plant and the intake facilities. For the road, the Forest Service road, and which accommodates our electrical power and the transmission pipeline, that is a shared use. And so we have a right of way essentially. The scope of these two land tenure applications are restricted to those two areas, an area in total of approximately 84 hectares. It does not extend into the wider community watershed.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay,
Any other questions? All those in favor? Thank you. And thank you very much for your report. The next item we have at 6.4 financial statements for September 2024, and Jimmy Chan's going to give us an update on the financial position.
Thank you, Chair. So I'll be going over the WSC financial statements for the 9-month period ending September 30th. Overall, joint water and sewer are both projected to be within budget. I'll start by going over the joint water operating statement on Appendix A on page 36. Joint water operations are projected to have a favorable variance of $412,000. The general services area is projected to be $401,000 less than budgeted. This is driven by position vacancies. Utility costs are projected to be $190,000 lower than budgeted. This is driven by current operating conditions. Water conservation costs are projected to be $180,000 lower than budgeted. There was a position vacancy in the first half of the year. Maintenance costs are projected to be $328,000 higher than budgeted. This is driven by higher water treatment plant maintenance. Some work was also done to convert wells away from on-site hypochlorite generation, and there were also some emergency repairs needed for an access road. Lastly, treatment and disinfection is projected to be $56,000 higher than budgeted. This is driven by higher use of chlorine and ammonia for increased water production. Moving on to joint sewer operating on Appendix B on page 37. The joint sewer operations are projected to have a $951,000 favorable variance to budget. This is mainly due to the disposal fee revenues, which are projected to be $480,000 higher than budgeted. Our plant has been accepting more volume due to Metro Vancouver and Chilliwack, now accepting septage from only their catchment areas. Industrial extra strength is also projected to be higher than budget by $147,000. On the expense side, the general services area is projected to be $299,000 lower than budgeted. This is mainly due to staff vacancies. Biosolids management is projected to be higher than budgeted by $126,000. This is due to higher volumes and a contractual rate increase in 2024. Now, Appendix C for joint water capital projects on page 38. Water capital expenditures are currently within the approved budget for 2024. A total of $4.5 million was spent at September 30th on projects with a total budget of $32.3 million. The 2024 approved capital budget for water is $36 million. And now on to joint sewer capital on Appendix E on page 40. Sewer capital expenditures are currently within the approved budget for the year. A total of 2 million was spent at September 30th on projects with a total budget of 5.9 million. The 2024 approved capital budget for sewer is $31.8 million. And that wraps up our financial update for September. Answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. Are there questions? Any? Go ahead, Councilor Davies.
One question, with the vacancies that we're having, are the anticipated completion dates of these projects actually current, or have they been adjusted?
Through the chair to Councillor Davies, we do update these major project reports with every version of this report, so they are updated on a monthly basis. Now, if you did have specific questions about specific projects on that report, I would invite my colleagues to answer if you had any specific questions about the projects on there. But generally, they are looked at on a monthly basis, and they are the dates that are current.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions? Go, Councilor Gibson.
I know it's a number of instances we're using the consultant. Incidentally, these reports are very good. I appreciate the quality of the information. But we use consultants in a variety of ways with our committee. But those are not separated. They're built in. There's no way that we can look at this and find out how much we're spending on consultants. Is that my understanding?
Through the chair to Councillor Gibson, that is correct. We do use consultants in a number of areas in operating and in capital as well. And, kind of wherever there's projects or work that requires consultants, it would have those costs kind of embedded in those costs. But we don't currently separate out consultants from kind of staff work.
But in your role, you can see the fees for consulting and how they're built into each one of the particular files they're working on. And that's your role to review those. Is that correct?
Absolutely, yes. We do review each area on a regular basis with our engineering and operations areas. So wherever there's, kind of discrepancies, whether it's consulting or staff, we do work closely with our different departments to find out what, kind of what's driving the variances within each area, whether it's staff or consulting. But yes, we do have access to those.
Thank you.
I do have a couple questions, and thank you for filling in the questions asked by members of the committee. My first question is in regards to the access road damage. I assume, is that the road going up to Norris Creek? And do we put aside money to maintain that road for the purpose of having incidences like where we do have erosion or we do have slides? Do we put money aside for that? I know this time of year things happen big time. Or it's just a normal, it falls into a general budgeting category. Whatever we need, we have funds for it if it happens, right?
To the chair, sorry, I don't have the information off the top of my head on whether or not that was to Norwich, but we do have a regular budget for road maintenance.
Okay.
Now I understand these emergency repairs were a result of a landslide. So I understand that is why higher repair costs were needed.
Just over the year.
Yeah.
Second question is the disposal fee projection of $480,000 to the end of September. Are we going to continue to see that, and where does that revenue go to? Will we continue to see increased revenue from disposal fees as other communities, because both Metro and Chilliwack would not take outside? So.
Yes. So to the chair, I understand this is a policy change with Metro Vancouver and Chilliwack, and we have been seeing these increased revenues for a period of time now. We do expect to continue to see these revenue increases, as we'll speak to later on during our budget presentation.
Okay, thank you.
A couple down, and it also helps contribute to sort of lower municipal contributions required by each respective city.
Right, thank you.
Yes.
The only one other question was that I just noted on page, this is page 39, this is to do with the Norwich power line refurbishment. $3.2 million to replace power lines. I guess we're responsible. It's a forestry road, but are we responsible to replace all the power lines at our cost? If there's damage, they need to be upgraded. Are we responsible for that? Is that what it's for? $3.2 million? Sure you did.
Yes, we're responsible as
Okay, thank you to know that. And the only last question is in regards to on page 41, we talked about the removed sludge in West Lagoon. I remember us going on a tour that was mentioned, and the question is, what work is required when you remove the sludge, and have we factored in how to deal with that? And how often do we do this? If it's costing $1.8 million to remove the sludge from there and look at the thing. Am I correct in asking this question this way? Because I'm not sure. I understand you need to make sure it's functional. And so what happens afterwards? Do we need to do repairs?
So, to the chair, this project is needed because we need this lagoon from time to time when we do other projects. Like, for example, when we do the concrete works, we need to bypass a portion of the plant so that we can still continue on treating the wastewater and maintain our effluent criteria. So the lagoon is used that way. But over time, the solids have accumulated in that lagoon. So it's now time to look at, removing the sludge from that lagoon so that we have the extra capacity back. So as to what is needed, the project itself, the project management office is currently looking after it. We're going to hire a consultant to determine the amount of sludge we have. And also, determine a methodology that we can actually dewater that because it's quite watery. So we're going to remove the moisture from the sludge and then have it taken off-site. It's not going to be like an ongoing project. It's a one-time project to give us that excess capacity that we can use for other projects.
Thank you. Okay, makes sense. Some conversation around that we went into the details. Okay, thank you very much. And the next report is on page 42, amendments to the water financial plan. We do have a recommendation here, by the way, page 42. So you have a presentation, right?
Not for this one here, it's just a report, but I'll be speaking to it.
Oh, go ahead.
So I'm presenting this next report to propose amendments to our current 2024 financial plan for joint water. First item on this report is a well rehabilitation water capital project. An additional $250,000 is needed to perform repairs for 3 production wells. We are proposing a transfer of $250,000 from our joint water contingency fund to this well rehabilitations project. This particular transfer would result in no net increase or decrease to our overall financial plan. The next 2 projects on this report are the water supply quality management system and the water supply strategic planning projects. For these 2 projects, we are proposing a $150,000 increase to the joint water capital plan so we can begin this work in 2024. The last item on this report is for the Canal Watershed Management Plan update. This item is a regulatory requirement, and for this, we are proposing a $100,000 increase to the joint water operating plan. And that concludes our summary of proposed amendments to the 2024 WSC financial plan.
I thank you, Mr. Chen. I should have put forth a motion. We do have a motion on this one that the City of Abbotsford, City of Mitchell amend financial plan bylaw as required. I have a mover, please. Moved by Mayor Seaman, seconded by Councillor Davies. All those in favor? Thank you. All of you in favor? Thank you. Thank you. Everybody's in favor. Okay, good. The next item on the agenda is 66, page 45. Again, Mr. Chen, you're going to be up in front. This is the 2025-2029 financial plan. We will get a presentation.
Thank you, Chair. So I'll start my presentation on the proposed 5-year financial plan for 2025 to 2029 for the Abbotsford Mission Water and Sewer Commission. This slide is just a mini agenda for this presentation. First, I'll talk about the 2025 proposed operating plans for joint water and joint sewer. Then I'll move on to the proposed capital plans for joint water and joint sewer. We'll start by talking about the joint water operating budgets. This slide lays out the overall revenue, expenditure, and municipal contributions required in the 2025 budget versus 2024's. No adjustments are needed for the joint water's operating revenue. 2025 expenditures are budgeted at $6.97 million. This is an increase of $309,000 over the 2024 plan, or 4.6%. Overall municipal contribution required is budgeted at $6,906,000 for 2025. This is an increase of $309,000 or 4.7% over 2024's required municipal contribution. Some of the operating budgets, some of the contributors to the operating budget changes are highlighted here. There is a $150,000 operating cost increase for a new building envelope Improvements Program. A new water supply operator FTE is being proposed, which will require approximately $131,000. There's a $50,000 increase to the loss management strategy program. Excuse me. This is a program that's currently being developed. Also, the treatment and disinfection supplies cost budget is being decreased by $25,000. Here, we have a graph of the year-over-year budget changes for each of the joint water operating categories. As we can see in the maintenance section, which is the fifth set of bars from the left, the most notable increase is driven by the new building envelopes improvement program, as well as the new water supply operator FTE. Water conservation and treatment and disinfection budget changes were touched on briefly on our previous slide. And all the other categories on this graph in joint water are relatively flat. I'll use this slide to also mention that we're introducing a new category for the joint operating statements for both water and sewer. The operating projects category is being introduced to hold projects that are one-time budget items, where the costs are not expected to be ongoing. For joint water, we now have this as a line item on the financial statements, but currently we have not identified any operating projects that fall within this joint water operating projects line. It's just a very far set of bars on the right there. There's nothing there at the moment. This graph here shows us the required municipal contribution projected through 2029 for joint water operating. For 2025 through 2027, it's pretty steady as we anticipate only inflationary type adjustments. Then in 2028, there is a sharp increase. This is because at that time, we are anticipating about $330,000 in new operating costs related to the new water source. Now we'll shift over to the joint sewer operating budget. These slides will follow the same format. Joint sewer revenue budget is increasing by $430,000 or 25%. 2025 expenditures are budgeted at $7,895,000. This is a decrease of $39,000 from the 2024 plan, or 0.5%. Overall municipal contribution required is budgeted at $5,745,000 for 2025. This is a decrease of $469,000, or 7.5% lower than 2024's level. For revenue, we're budgeting a $430,000 increase for disposal fees. We are seeing increasing disposal fee revenue, mainly due to those policy changes at Metro Vancouver and Chilliwack. They're now accepting septage from only their areas. The biosolids management budget is also increasing by $100,000. This is due to increased costs from a new contract with our vendor. Next, there were decreases in the budgets for the engineering studies and wastewater effluent outfall monitoring programs. And lastly, there's also a small adjustment to the James Plan property insurance budget, and that's just based on recent trends. Here are the year-over-year changes for joint sewer operating categories. For general services on the very left, most of the drop is explained by decreases in the engineering studies and wastewater effluent outfall monitoring programs. Also, the wastewater effluent monitoring program is transferred to the projects category, as seen on the far right. The biosolids management contractual increase is shown in the set of bars, which are second from the far right. And the other categories on this graph are relatively consistent compared to 2024. Here is joint sewers required municipal contribution projected through 2029 for joint sewer operating. The drop from 2024 to 2025 is mainly due to the increase in the disposal fee revenue budget. After that, it's mostly inflationary type adjustments year to year. Now we'll move over to the capital plan summaries for water and sewer. For joint water, we are budgeting $121.5 million over the next 5 years. Of that $121.5 million, $70 million is allocated for the new water source project. We anticipate $31.5 million in the capital budget to be carried forward from 2024 into 2025. For joint sewer, we are budgeting $90.8 million over the next 5 years and anticipate $29.8 million in capital to be carried forward from 2024 into 2025. And in summary, required municipal contribution of $6,906,000 for Abbotsford Mission joint water operations is budgeted for 2025. Required municipal contribution of $5,745,000 for Abbotsford Mission joint sewer operations is budgeted for 2025. The 5-year capital plan proposes $121.5 million for joint water capital and $90.8 million for joint sewers capital. And that concludes our presentation on the proposed 5-year financial plan for the Water and Sewer Commission. Happy to answer any questions.
Sure, I'll just put the recommendation on the floor that the Joint Service Committee authorize staff to include that draft operating capital water and sewer finance plans for the city of Abbotsford, city of Mission, draft consolidated finance plan as be forwarded as a recommendation. Can I have a mover? Moved by Mayor Seaman, second by Mark, second by Mark Morganton. Mark Morganton, I got it. Okay, so do you have any questions? I paused it. Go ahead, Councilor Gibson.
Under joint sewer expenditures, there's 2 categories of maintenance. There's general plant maintenance and there's another maintenance here. And if you go back up to the water, there's only 1 category of maintenance. So why is that? Why is there 2 categories of maintenance under sewer, but only 1 category of maintenance under water? Under joint water expenditures, we've got these little bar charts going on here, and it's all good. The maintenance here underwater, and if I scroll down just a little bit here, sewer, you've got general plant maintenance and then maintenance, 2 categories of maintenance. Why is that? Why aren't they together? Why are they separate?
Mr. Chair, to answer that. So when we looked at the operations and set up the reporting for the joint sewer utility, the general plant maintenance is more of just the general buildings there, whereas the maintenance, it says maintenance there on the financial statements, you'll see that we actually have it under wastewater treatment. So that does a lot more of the equipment and very expensive equipment and facilities, whereas the general plant maintenance is more of just the office building type of facilities. So those are the maintenances there.
And that's not obligatory with water, it only applies to sewer, is that correct?
That's correct. And as we were looking at it too, the breakdown of how we reported, we looked at reporting responsibilities and so on. So it seemed to make sense from the reporting perspective and the type of operation. There was a lot of maintenance on the sewer side related to those facilities. So we decided to break them separate.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? All those in favor of the motion, then. Thank you. All in favor. Now have a motion to open that to close. Motion to close. I recommend the November 21st, 2024 Shared Service Committee meeting be closed to the public. We consider matters on 91K negotiations related to discussions, proposed provisions of municipal service that are primary stages and that in the view of council could reasonably be expected to harm their interest if they're held in public. So I have a move by Councilor Gibson, second by Councilor Davies. All those in favor, going to close. We'll give it a minute or two. Then we'll go to close. Good. All good. Get me off TV.